Long before the great cities of Greece rose to glory, before Athens built its shining temples, and Sparta marched across the mountains, there was a prophecy so terrifying that a king tried to defy fate itself. Our story begins with a princess named Danae, daughter of King Acrisius of Argos. Acrisius had only one child, and he desperately wanted a son. He visited every oracle he could find, asking the gods if he would ever have a male heir. But the oracle of Delphi gave him an answer that froze the blood in his veins. You will have no son, but your daughter will bear one, and your grandson will be the cause of your death. From that moment, fear ruled Acrisius's heart. He locked Danae away in a bronze chamber deep beneath the palace, where no man could ever reach her. If she never bore a child, the prophecy could never come true. But you already know, mortals can try to hide from destiny, but no one hides from the gods. One night, a golden light filled the chamber. Danae looked up and saw Zeus himself entering her room in the form of shimmering rain. From this divine encounter, a child was born, a boy named Perseus. When Acrisius learned of the child, his fear returned, stronger than ever. But he could not kill the child of Zeus. The gods would punish him. Instead, he chose a quieter cruelty. He sealed Danae and baby Perseus inside a wooden chest and cast them into the raging sea, letting the waves decide their fate. But Zeus was watching. The sea itself calmed, guiding the chest safely to the island of Seriphos, where a kindly fisherman named Dictys discovered them and took them in as his own family. Perseus grew into a strong, humble young man, brave, loyal, and fiercely protective of his mother. But trouble arrived in the form of King Polydectes, ruler of Seriphos. He wanted Danae for himself, but Perseus stood in the way. So Polydectes devised a plan to get rid of the young hero. He announced a grand banquet and demanded every man bring a gift fit for a king. But Perseus had nothing to offer. No gold, no fine horses. So he spoke boldly. "Name your gift, my king, and I will bring it to you." A cruel smile spread across Polydectes' face. "Then bring me the head of Medusa." The hall grew silent. Medusa, once a beautiful maiden, had been cursed into a monster with serpents for hair. Anyone who looked into her eyes turned to stone. No warrior had ever returned from such a mission. But Perseus had spoken, and his honor bound him to his promise. And so he set out on a journey no mortal had ever survived. The gods, impressed by his courage, came to his aid. Athena gifted him a polished shield, shining like a mirror. Hermes gave him winged sandals and a blade sharp enough to cut through anything. The god Hades provided a helmet that could turn him invisible. With these divine tools, Perseus traveled far beyond the lands of men to a place where the sun never rose and the air tasted of death. There, in a cavern of darkness, Medusa and her two immortal sisters waited. Perseus could not look at her directly. One glance would end his life. So he raised Athena's shield and watched Medusa's reflection as she slithered through the shadows, hissing, searching for the intruder. His heart pounded. Sweat ran down his face. He stepped carefully, silently, until he was close enough to hear the serpents writhing on her head. Then, in one explosive moment, he leaped forward. The blade flashed. The monster screamed. And with a single strike, Perseus cut off Medusa's head. From her blood, two immortal beings were born: Pegasus, the winged horse, and Chrysaor, a mighty warrior. Perseus quickly placed the head inside a magical bag, for even in death its eyes could turn men to stone. His return journey was just as eventful. He rescued Andromeda, a princess chained to a rock as an offering to a sea monster. He turned the beast to stone with Medusa's gaze and saved her life. The two would later marry and become legends themselves. When Perseus finally returned to Seriphos, he found that King Polydectes had been tormenting his mother. Without hesitation, Perseus entered the king's hall, removed Medusa's severed head, and turned the tyrant and his loyal guards into stone. Justice was served. But what about the prophecy? One day while Perseus was competing in an athletic contest, he threw a discus that veered off course and struck an old man in the crowd. The man fell and died instantly. The man was King Acrisius, the grandfather who once tried to kill him. The prophecy had come true not through Perseus's hatred, but by fate's quiet, inevitable hand. Perseus mourned deeply, but destiny cannot be undone. He would later rule the kingdom of Mycenae and become one of the most honored heroes in Greek legend. His bloodline would continue for generations, eventually giving birth to another hero, Heracles.